Yo, what up? So today we're going to be talking about Kurtzpel, but it's going to be a little bit different. So today I'm going to address a lot of things that have been talked about within the community, but I also want to go ahead and share some of my thoughts on the way Kurtzpel could change up the game to kind of laser beam itself back up to where it was. Because right now, we're around 1,000 players playing currently, and 2 months ago, before I left to California, the game was at a constant steady 3,000 players playing. So a lot of people are calling the game, oh, it's dead, it's dying. It's never been dead, and it's still not really dead at all. I mean, 1,000 plus players playing still is really good. Definitely for a game that plays like this, and it's still in early access. And I think a lot of people who play anime-related games could definitely agree with that. Now, that means Kurtzpel definitely has its charm. However, I feel like Kurtzpel is laser beaming in the very wrong direction instead of laser beaming upward. Now, the first topic to discuss is the partner program, because obviously you guys know I've already left the partner program, but to this day I still hear people talking about the partner program and how there was 2 sets of partners and all this other shit. So I'm just gonna go ahead and address all of it right now. So if you were a partner during the first wave, you got a partner cape, and this was also around the same time where like Dual Souls was coming out, and this was a part of NDA, but it's since been broken and every partner knows about it already. But at that time and moment when Dual Souls was coming out, we got free access to Dual Souls, so we didn't have to pay for Dual Souls. So that's that. But that's since been over. When I was a part of that Discord and newer things were coming out, clothing and stuff like that, we weren't getting anything else for free. There was nothing else that we got. It was literally just that. Now, if that was the way partnerships was gonna work, it kind of makes sense. You know, something new comes out, we need people to kind of get interested in the new weapon and new content that's being released for the game, so it makes sense again to give it to people who are constantly making content on the game. The first wave of partners were literally the people who were literally on top of Twitch or on top of YouTube and making content for the game continuously, constantly, and always engaging in the community. So again, sit back, and if you're a current partner right now, the 50 plus of you, sit back and think, does that make sense? It does. And is it really that big of a deal? Not really. Now, think about it now. If they did that exact same thing with Hammer and there's 50 plus of you, would that have been fair? Fuck no. 1, 50 plus people getting something for free, that's them losing out on money. Number 2, having to keep track of 50 plus people getting something and trying to pay attention of who is breaking NDA, that's really hard to do too. So they probably scrapped the whole giving things for free out based off of somebody breaking something in the first place. Now, for those people who are mad about that subject in general, there's something to really like take into account. Most games only have a handful of partners, and that never gets changed until like maybe 6 months down the line, due to the fact that those original partners either don't play the game anymore, or they're one of those streamers who are variety streamers that only play a game for like a straight week and then they jump over to a different game. Which we've had a couple of streamers who were kind of the face of the game, and none of them play the game anymore. So that's another thing to keep into account. So there's that. Now when it comes to feedback, I always state this, and it doesn't matter whatever game it is. The one thing people need to realize is that you may have feedback, you may have a brief understanding of the game, you may have a hardcore understanding of the game, you could be the top fucking player. The problem is, if your feedback doesn't fit their vision of how they want their game to play or perform, more than likely they're going to push your opinion aside, which does suck at the end of the day, but it just kind of is what it is. A lot of games do that, and then you have other games who actually fully listen to the community and just base everything off the community, but that's not always a good thing. Definitely if you're only listening to a handful of people who are playing the game. A lot of people express their opinion, but a lot of people are just super triggered and mad, so it's kind of hard to determine, hey, is this good feedback, or is this just some kid being upset and they just don't like the way the game is playing because it's not functioning the way they want it to. And on top of that, I do feel like they mainly listen to community driven feedback and not just like 7 players saying the same thing and that's it. You know, if it's just 7 people talking about it, it's probably not as big of a deal. However, those could be 7 top tier players complaining about it, and I feel like that should be kind of put on a pedestal. But to even counter that, we do have some top players that would give feedback, and some of them were like trolley type of players, and then some of those people were kind of biased, so it's just really hard to always be able to be like, yeah, he's someone to listen to. Now, I think when it's community driven, they listen very quick and very fast. If you guys remember when Dual Souls came out, and no one liked Dual Souls due to the fact that it was like murdering people within seconds. It was like, alright, we need to tone down this damage. Along with those damage changes though, they also toned down the combo potential for Dual Souls. Even though it still had strong combo potential, but people needed to go about it a different way. People didn't care enough to try to, you know, start doing different combos. They were just like, fuck it, I don't like this, we're gonna uproar about it. They uproared, and then it got fixed within that week again. So feedback does get listened to, but it needs to be on a certain scale for them to change it quickly. If it's small, I feel like it's something that they feel like they can change within like a new season of PvP. However, I think preseason is the time to start changing things, and then when the season starts, it's like, alright, I think we've polished this game enough so far. Let's see how this season works out. Let's see how many people complain and stuff like that. However, I'm not a dev, so obviously, you know, my thought process on how doing things just doesn't really work out that much. And even regardless of feedback in general, I do feel like Kurtzpel should have went a completely different direction in terms of how the game played. One, PvE should have been expanded upon. I don't think it should have been, oh, you go to a hub, pick a monster you want to fight, rinse and repeat. They try to change it up by doing something where they spawn random monsters, but at the same time, it's still kind of a Zerg fest against the monsters. They get drained and you're done and you rinse and repeat. And then now we have the raid style type of thing, which is just one monster you beat down, eventually he clones himself and you fight him again, and it's the same shit over and over. It's not really all that fun anymore, at least not for me. Plus, as a lot of you guys already know, I wasn't a huge PvE guy in the first place, I'm more of a PvPer. However, I am the type to appreciate some really good PvE, and sadly I still think Kurtzpel just isn't it. I think they could have just went the Vindictus route and made dungeons, maybe even have some ads before you get to the main boss, and then you get to the boss, you fight it, and then maybe you get a crafting item out of it, or you grind these monsters to get very specific crafting items so you can craft a new sword or something in that nature. Obviously, weapons in this game are mainly cosmetic, they all do the same thing. They can even change that up, maybe add some elemental type of attacks, maybe in the future, or something in that nature. They could expand upon PvE dramatically to make it affect PvP in a better way. And now we're talking about PvP, man. PvP isn't even all that great right now. Right now it's more of a blender fest where you just get someone stuck into something and your partner does as much damage as possible when that player is stuck. And that's just the general basis of PvP currently. And sadly, we have an ESL competitive mode, which showcases that, and it kind of hurts my soul to watch it in ESL format, because one, there's no one commentating for it, and two, it's just watching the same type of gameplay unfold over and over. And sadly, unless they overhaul the combat and stats and everything like that, I don't think it'll ever change. I'm still crossing my fingers that they do like a huge update and then utilize the test server, and don't just do it for a couple of days, but do it for a long period of time and make it available for everyone, so it's not just a selective few amount of people choosing how the game eventually plays out. And even with that being said, there's no telling if they'll even put into consideration the feedback that those few people gave anyways, because it didn't seem like they did that when it came to the hammer before it released. So that's just something to put out there. I hope they see this video and they kind of step back and think about things, but I don't really think that'll be the case. Right now I think we're just kind of along for the ride, and we're crossing our fingers daily, hoping Kurtzpel kind of gets their shit together. This game can redeem itself in a dramatic way. They've done that before when it came to the whole pay-to-win thing that happened when the game first came out, and they corrected that within the first week of the game being released in early access. So personally, I have 100% hope that they can turn this around, or that they will turn it around. However, I think right now they're stuck in this I don't know what to do state. And honestly, I think a lot of the changes that need to be done are literally just within the core game's balance. Period. We have enough cosmetics right now. We have enough content right now. Right now we need a solid playing game, and then you need to progress upon that. And I don't know, only time will tell. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. What do you think Kurtzpel needs to fix? What is some feedback that you would like for them to see? And what would you like to see within Kurtzpel in terms of future updates or anything that could possibly be added to the game for the better? I don't know, this video probably seemed like a lot of rambling, but for the most part I just really wanted to spark a conversation and cross my fingers that some GM will watch this and try to pass it along to their dev team, because right now I'm seeing a lot of the player base just shit on the game, but but continue to play the game. However, no one seems to be listening to these players that are trying to better the game. And for me personally, I've been playing the game since CBT, the very first one, and I was covering the game before the game even released, and I've been trying my hardest to stick with this, but it's really hard to since now I'm starting to get bored of the game. Even though live commentary increases the fun for me, it can only go so far. So, I don't know. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.